Nam Guru Dhanam Hiyatayami Chadam Sagi Chonama Chanchu Badu Dani Kyasuchi Dati Chenyen Gibe Sunam Gi Dala Penshir Sangye Drupashu Chadam Sagi Chonama Chanchu Badu Dani Kyasuchi Dati Chenyen Gibe Sunam Gi Dala Penshir Sangye Drupashu Chadam Sagi Chonama Chanchu Badu Dani Kyasuchi Dagi Chenyen Gibe Sunam Gi Dala Penshir Sangye Drupashu. Okay. Poker top, poker or poker. Okay. The world now, especially in Israel, I think, and New Jersey and New York. So you guys will do that after this course. Okay. Just a protocol thing. I was thinking it would probably be good to do. We did this in New York sometimes, to have two quizzes on Saturdays rather than have you try to come early on Wednesdays, you know, if you have a long drive. So, and then you can get home on time on Wednesdays. So, so both quizzes will be on Saturdays. You know what I mean? So like quiz 1 and 2 will be this coming Saturday, right? And I'm sorry I don't have the reading done yet for number 1 or 2. It's almost done for number 1. And so you couldn't answer some of the questions on the homework because you needed the reading to do that. So I thought I'd give you some of those now. I think one tough question was the story of Master Asanga demonstrates 3 important ideas of the worldview in general. And that's just like if you take the fact that he ran around town with Maitreya on his back and no one saw Maitreya, but he could see Maitreya, then that demonstrates the what of Maitreya? I mean, that's emptiness, okay? And we love that. That's worldview. That's pure worldview. And then something had to happen in his mind before he could see Maitreya, which was karma. So he had to have new karma. And the only way to get that much karma was the compassion of trying to help the dog. So I would say karma, emptiness, compassion pretty much summarize my idea of what worldview is. And we were talking about it with some of the students. You know, almost anywhere you go in the world to learn Buddhism, people will talk separately about those 3 ideas. But I think it's changing now, but I think there's been a thing where people didn't tie it together. You know, like they wouldn't say he couldn't see Maitreya because Maitreya is empty, and he only saw Maitreya because he had the karma to do that, and he only got that karma because he was practicing compassion. I think sometimes there's a frustration in the world among Western Dharma students especially that people don't tie the emptiness and the karma together. You know, they don't describe emptiness as things being available to be anything depending on what kind of karma you have, you know. And you have to tie them together, I think. And then compassion is the fastest and best way to collect karma. The other question I think that we didn't cover in the class was the 2 books that we'll be using, the 2 main commentaries. One was Gyaltsab Jain, you know that, called Gyulatik, which is commentary on the UttaraTantra. But the other one is called Gyulai Namshe, just to do it short.
Right there.
Open it? Maybe close it? Oh no, it comes this way, right? Yeah, I'll just do it like that. Maybe. Sorry?
Maybe we have the Sanskrit.
Oh, I have a proposal on the Sanskrit. Anybody who'd like to learn the Sanskrit, come an hour early on Saturday, on every Saturday, and then Christy La's gonna do the Sanskrit with you. So it's already ready for this Saturday. And I think it just might save some time. This is the pronunciation of the Sanskrit. And she'll have a printout, so if you can't come early on Saturday, you can get the printout. So you know Gyulai means UttaraTantraTTDisc02 apostrophe S right here, right? I should have spelled it like this. Gyulai. And Namshe means great explanation or thorough explanation or complete explanation of the Gyulama. Okay? That was written by, some people call that an Adhan commentary, but I think they're wrong because at the end of the book, they say the author was one person and the commentator was a different person. How's that?
The author was Maitreya.
Yeah.
The commentary was by a Sangha.
Yeah, so I used to get confused, like Western scholars will say Maitreya / a Sangha. So I thought there was a fight or something about who wrote it, and then a lot of scholars say there's no Maitreya, Sangha just wrote it, But at the end of the book, in the Tengyur, in the ancient canon, it says this book was written by Maitreya, and it was, the root text was written by Maitreya, and this explanation was written by Arya Sangha. Okay? And we're going to be using that explanation a lot. For one reason, it has a lot of Sanskrit. We have the Sanskrit of it, so it's a nice one to use. And the second reason is that Gyaltsab Je bases much of his book on this commentary by Arya Sangha directly. So it's kind of a neat commentary to use. I think that might cover all the weird questions on the homework or not? Yeah? Okay. Sorry about that. It's that you didn't get the reading. Normally, I leave a little bit out of the class and then it forces you to read the reading to find the homework question, and then we can email it even tomorrow in the Roman, the reading. If yeah, people can receive that by email?
Yeah, you can.
As a PDF or something? Okay. So we're going to go on to class 2. In which we cover the subject matter of the whole book. But I thought you might like to read what's called the Gyurchak. Gyurchak means the Tibetan translator, before they translate a book, they always bow down to somebody. And they put that at the front of the book, And so there's a Gyurchak in the front of Arya Sangha's commentary. And I was reading it and I was comparing it to the Sanskrit. Somebody's bowing down in the front of the Sanskrit version, the ancient Sanskrit version. And they're not the same. Now we know the translator was a pretty good guy because Lord Atishad translated it. He translated the root text and Arya Sangha's commentary. So we know he's not a dummy, We know the person doing the translation was good. But at the beginning of the Tibetan, it says, Sangye dan chandu semba tamje la chaksalo, which means, Sangye dan,
The Buddha and
chandu semba
Bodhisattvas,
tamje la
all of them.
chaksalo.
I bow down.
Yeah, I bow down to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. What's it saying? I think. Oh yeah, but the Sanskrit says, she's going to do it. You can do this one. Om Namah Shri Vajrasattvaaya.
I bowed down to Vajrasattva.
Yeah, to glorious Vajrasattva. Om. I bow down to Vajrasattva, which makes it a tantric text. Maybe. But maybe he just wanted to catch the Vajra, which is what in Tibetan? Dorje, which is diamond. Okay? So it seems like the person who wrote the Sanskrit text out had some sort of preoccupation with diamonds. Also, in the first verse, in the opening verse, also I just point that out, to me it's interesting. And why would Lord Atisha translate it differently? You see, and you kind of have to know that Atisha's position at Nalanda Monastery was sort of to keep the other people straight. And when Naropa and his friend Maitrippa had wild Sechu parties there, he threw out Maitrippa for a while. Maitrippa, according to some accounts, found two of Maitreya's books. I mean, he was a great scholar and a great tantrika. But there's this thing where Naropa was sort of the, on one extreme, trying to pull the monks into a tantric worldview. And in those who couldn't quite handle it, Lord Atisha was disciplining people at the same time. And so, I don't know, maybe that has something to do with his translation of the obeisance, you know, of the prostration. But obviously the original author was thinking about Vajras, and he bows down to Vajrasattva. Then he gets, in the first verse, he starts to mention okay, can you see okay, Michael? Say Dorje, Tabu, Namba, Din. Could you guys open the door maybe and close the screen? I think I'm trying to make it a little cooler. Dorje means what? Diamond. Those of you all must know, but Do is stone and J is king or lord of stones, and that's the diamond, right? Tabu means like or similar to a diamond, diamond-like. Namba means a vision, a way of perceiving something. Okay, like Loi Namba means the perception of the mind. And then Din means 7. So we have the 7 diamond-like visions. Okay, is the opening subject of this whole book, Uttara Tantra. The opening shloka, the first verse, is all devoted to the 7 diamond-like visions. And it all relates to what happens when you perceive emptiness directly. So you're very familiar with this, I think, from the Diamond Cutter Sutra and other things. It gives me a lot of faith to find a book where the author is jumping right into diamonds, because then I think it's one indication that the person had seen emptiness directly. So, well, it's good. It's good. It's good. It's very good. No, it's very good. Something came. It's very good. Okay. Okay. So we'll go through the 7, all right? And then we'll be talking about the 7 most of the night. I can use that paper this fast, yeah? Okay, number 1. Say Sangye? Sangye. You all know Sangye Choren, Sangye Chogamla, right? Buddha. So the first of the 7 diamond-like visions is a Buddha. And why that is, we'll talk about it. But I think the first thing to say is that when you see emptiness directly, when you come out of it, then I think, as you know from the Diamond Cutter Sutra, then you are aware of having met the core of a Buddha, the essential core of a Buddha, which is emptiness, okay? The emptiness of that Buddha, which is the 99% of the Dharmakaya, okay? So it makes sense that that would be the first of the 7 diamond-like visions. All right. Gyaltsab-je in his commentary says some of these visions, in a way, take place during the direct perception of emptiness. Some of them take place during what we call the aftermath, the following hour or 2 hours, while you're still in meditation, but you're come down out of the direct perception of emptiness. So it makes sense to me that he starts with the one that you see during the direct perception of emptiness. You see the Dharmakaya of Buddha. Okay. So that gives me a lot of faith in Maitreya's presentation. Like, I believe that it's written by someone who's at least what level Bodhisattva?
First.
Well, both right. Maitreya was said to reach the 10th, right? Bodhisattva level. And Arya Sangha the first. Sorry, third. And Arya Nagarjuna the first. And then I saw a debate today in a text of when did Arya Sangha see emptiness directly, and I believe it was afterwards, well afterwards. According to one text, it's well afterwards, and I think it was that. Yeah, like maybe 10 or 20 years after that. Just from the way he does his commentary, which he did before that, and certain indications in the commentary. This is a no-brainer. Say Chu? Dharma, right? If something is a Dharma, it has to be the jewel of the Dharma, the Dharma jewel that we go for refuge to, right? Illegal answer. Oh, yeah, there was a keba in there, and you should say keba machung, but because I ended in cheer, that overrides the keba.
Oh, because, yeah.
So you just say Tamandu. Yeah. You tell me, just because something is the Dharma, it doesn't mean it has to be the jewel of the Dharma that we go for refuge to? Show. Give me an example of one. Now, when I say give me an example, I say, show me something that's Dharma, but not the jewel of the Dharma that we go for refuge to. Because most people just mix them up. Ouch, what is this?
That's my homework.
Homework. Well, just tell me, it's okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, the book, yeah. Then I do the auto confirmation. What do they call it with a fax machine? It goes back to the sender to confirm. Yeah. You telling me it's the Dharma?
Yeah.
You telling me it's not the jewel of the Dharma?
Yeah.
Why the hell not?
It's not necessarily a source of protection. It's a piece of paper
You could say
with
that.
letters on it.
You could say that.
That's why I said not necessarily.
Okay, you can say that. Okay, we'll let it go. Okay, so Ch. So it's real difficult to guess what the third one is. Say tsok. Tsok. In Sanskrit, it's gana. Gana, like in Gana Chakra. What's Gana Chakra? Tsoki. Tsoki Kolo. And that's the name for the tantric feast. And there you see the idea of many offerings brought together into a gathering, and then many people properly initiated coming to the gathering, and then the offerings are called Soki Kolo, the wheel of offering, or something like that. Gana Chakra. So that's where you see the word Gana a lot. This is the word in Tibetan, the easy word for what?
Sangha?
Sangha, yeah, Sangha. And we'll get into what's real Sangha and what's not real Sangha, right? We have to debate that. But that's the third of the 7 diamond-like visions. You have some vision that involves the Sangha, okay? Number 4. What is that? Come. Chungju? Come. Yeah. Say come. 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 Come has a meaning, basic meaning of a discrete, cut-off thing. Like out in East Tibet, there's this state, this big state of cowboys, and the people in Central Tibet kind of wish they were cut off, and they call them kambas. When you eat food and you take a bite, that's called a kam in the ancient scriptures. Like kamgise means food that you take with your mouth and bite it into discrete chunks. And then nikise is sleep, which is another kind of nutrient. Rewa is the third kind of food, which is hope. And then concentration is the fourth kind of food. And if you don't get all 4, you know, like a person needs hope and sleep and concentration to live well. But kamgise is edible food, biteable food. So kam means a discrete thing, category. And in this text, the word dhatu in Sanskrit, it means deshin shepe nyingbo. Who can I pick on? Deshin nyingbo shagimata. What is deshin nyingbo?
It's the essence of Sugadagarbha?
Yeah, Sugadagarbha. Sugadagarbha meaning Buddha nature. Buddha nature. So in this text, in the UttaraTantra, kam means Buddha nature, the Buddha nature inside of you, okay? The Buddha nature inside of you. It has other names in Tibetan. We'll go through them. Rik is one, which is like type or family, and Nyingbo is one, which is like heart. And we'll be going into all those different words for the Buddha nature inside of you. The first chapter of this book is the longest one. There are 5 chapters to the UttaraTantra. The first chapter treats these 4 of the 7 diamond-like visions, okay? So they're so important and they hang together so well that the first chapter is devoted to these 4 together. Like Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and then the seed for Buddhahood inside of every person. So they call that chapter Deshin Shepe Nyingbu Kap, which means the chapter on the essence of the Buddha, meaning the Buddha nature in everybody, okay? So those first 4 are going to be the subject of about half the book. And the debate about what it is inside of you that becomes a Buddha, and what is the essence of a Buddha inside of you, is probably the most important thing about this whole book. So we'll be spending a lot of time on that. You know, what is Rik? What is your Buddha nature? And there's so many weird ideas about it. Even in Tibet, there were very violent debates about it. Those of you who are studying Sabmo Nangden have been through a few pages of debates on that already. So, from the other guy's viewpoint. Number 5. you think that window would open?
There's no screen.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we'll get every bug in the whole. Okay.
You open the upstairs windows and the door to the stairway.
Okay.
Grab.
And perhaps someone could pick on a fan.
Oh, that's nice.
You can do that
Uh,
with the fan recording. That's why it's
Well, maybe just open the door a little bit. But we'll see. Okay. You got to cook, but I'm afraid your brain will go down. But anyway, say Changchu. Changchu. What's it mean? Check it out. Enlightenment. So naturally, one of the people in Gyaltsab Je's commentary comes up and says, or it means enlightened or enlightened being, right?
So you already did it.
Yeah. The guy comes up in Gyaltsab Je's commentary and says, why mention Buddha again, right? Actually, technically it's Bodhi in Sanskrit instead of Buddha, but it doesn't much matter. It's still enlightened being, okay? The guy says, why do you mention Buddha again? You know? You'll find out. Say Yenten. Yenten. Yenten means good spiritual quality, a good quality. They can roughly be divided into two kinds. One is the accomplishment of the quality of having gotten rid of your anger, for example. That would be a Yenten. That's what we call Chawa Yenten. You got rid of something negative. And that's a good quality, a guna in Sanskrit. Then the other one might be that you have developed the ability to see into all of your students' minds, which I haven't done, and that would be Namingi Yenden, which means a karmic result, good quality, that you have to work on and develop, and then it's something positive that you acquire, okay? So that's Yenten. And here it means in qualities of an enlightened being. Okay, not just of anybody, but of an enlightened being. What doesn't tell me? Oh, God bless. Say Chinle. Chinle. It's a common Tibetan name. Like Chinle Topkye is one of our great teachers at Saramay and became the abbot of Gyume Tantra College. So Chinle means enlightened activity of a Buddha, karma of a Buddha. In Sanskrit, you change Buddha to Bauddha, and you get Buddha-ish karma, meaning activity of an enlightened being. Okay. Chinle. I'm going to go through these 7 again. Gyaltsab Je immediately jumps into the 7. He's going to talk about the 7 in 3 different ways, and we'll cover that tonight. First question is, what are they like? You know, what's their nature? And the answer is going to be, there's a real 7 and there's a not so real 7. Okay? There's a real 7 and there's a not so real 7. That's the first way he's going to discuss the 7. Then we'll take a break for refreshments, okay? Then he gets into, how come you only got 7? You don't have 8 or 6 or 9 or something like that. Why has it got to be 7? Okay, you know, why does Maitreya want to say that these 7 are the most important thing of all? The diamond-like visions, okay? I mean, lots of stuff happens during the perception of emptiness. You got 16 aspects of the Four Noble Truths. You know, why not talk about those 20 things? And he says, no, it's got to be 7. Then he says, is there any logic to the order of the 7? You know, why does it go Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, Buddha nature, back to Buddha? Buddha's qualities, Buddha's activity. You know, why do you go in that flow? Why didn't you present it like Buddha, Buddha's activity, you know? And why did you do two Buddhas anyway? You know, but we'll get there, okay? So those are the three things we have to cover tonight. And then by next week, or next class, we'll be ready to go on to the first of the diamonds and see more about it, you know, in detail. So we said there's two kinds of Buddhas, right? Like a real Buddha and a not so real Buddha. And those are called Dundam. And let me see how you spell this. And Kunzum. Say Dundam. Kunzo. I'm going to quote a sutra that Arya Sangha quotes in his commentary, okay, to the UttaraTantra. And I tried to find out which sutra in the database, and it seems to be one called the sutra which teaches Laksam. What's Laksam?
Personal responsibility.
Yeah, personal responsibility. Like, I will free all living beings, even if nobody helps me. Even if everyone fights me, I'll still do it. And I'll do it with every breath and every moment of my life. I will not give up. I will not get discouraged. I will not wait for anybody else to help me. And if people hassle me, I'll just keep cruising. And that's called Laksam, okay? Laksam. So this comes from a part of a sutra called the Presentation of Laksam, okay? I'll do the Sanskrit just for good luck, okay? And maybe Kristi La can help you if anyone's really interested. Anidarshana Hyananda Tathagata. O Ananda, which is the great disciple of Lord Buddha. His name means bliss, right? Blissful one. O Ananda, the Buddha is not something that anyone could ever show you. You could never see the Buddha, okay? Sana Shakyas Chakshusa Jashtum. I'll cheat and look at the Tibetan. No one could ever see the Buddha, right? Anabhilapyo Hyananda Dharma. No one can describe the Dharma. Okay, the Dharma is undescribable. Okay, you can't talk. The Dharma cannot be spoken. The Dharma cannot be spoken. Sana Shakya Karnena Shrotum. The ears cannot hear the Dharma. Okay, your ears cannot hear the Dharma. Asanskrito Hyananda Sangha. You could never bring the Sangha together. Oh Ananda. Sana Shakya Kayena Vachitena Vaparyupya Situm. And no one could ever go to the Sangha and pay homage to them and make offerings to them. It's impossible. So what have we got so far? You can't see a Buddha. You can't hear the Dharma, and it's unspeakable. And you could never bring the Sangha together, and even if you did, you couldn't offer them anything or help them or pay honor to them, okay? And then I'll switch to, let's do it. Itimani chini vajra patani durda dhyashaya parivartanusarena antavyani, which means they are not something, the Sangha is not something you could bow down to with your body or with your mind. And these are the first three of the diamond-like visions. They're called Vajrapada, okay? So we got a debate, right? Who's that girl in the back that's hiding? Amber. Sangye, thank you, maybe. Nobody could show me the Buddha.
That's true.
What? Sangye, thank you, you can't see the Buddha?
In your
Huh?
hand.
Sorry? No, say. You gotta be like, oh. Okay. I'm saying, look, I can see the Buddha. It's right here. Sangye, thank you, anyone can see the Buddha. Everyone can see the Buddha.
I disagree.
Okay, Tamadu, right? Sangye, thank you, you're telling me nobody can see the Buddha?
Yes.
So there's no Buddhists?
I didn't say that.
Good. Well, what do you mean when you say you can't see the Buddha?
You can't see it. You can't see the Buddha from the wrong side. You can't see,
That's pretty
you
good.
can't see a self-existent Buddha.
Yeah, good. Okay, you can't see a self-existent Buddha. What would be a good test of that? To prove that Lord Buddha, or say that His Holiness the Dalai Lama is not self-existent? What would be a good proof?
They're impermanent.
Huh?
They're impermanent.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I took a flight out of Beijing and they handed me a newspaper in English that had Dalai Lama's photo right in the front. It said, "Public enemy number one." You know? And then they described all the evil things the Dalai Lama's doing. You know? So the Dalai Lama's empty. You know, some people perceive him one way, some people perceive him a different way. That's the emptiness of the Buddha, right? But we have to get into Dundam and Kunzop Buddha. Okay, and now I'm going to go to Gyaltsab Je. The whole presentation comes out of that sutra. Gyaltsab Je is struggling to explain this sutra. Why is it you can't see the Buddha? Why is it that nobody could show you the Buddha? And he says, you know, we have to divide Buddha into Dundam means ultimate Buddha, and Kunzop means deceptive Buddha. Like illusory Buddha, the Buddha that seems to be a Buddha but is not a Buddha. Okay? And he goes through that pattern for each of the 7. So we'll go through that since it's on your homework and all that. That's how I get people to listen. He says, ultimate Buddha. Okay, we're going to have how many now? 14. We're going to have the ultimate version of the 7 and the faked version of the 7. Okay? Ultimate Buddha consists of 2 things, he says. Pampadan Yeshi Punsan Sope Ranshin Chuki Ku, which means the Dhammakaya, which has as its nature eliminating things and ultimate wisdom. Okay? Though you have to understand that the Dharmakaya of the Buddha can be divided into 2. One is his omniscience, or her omniscience, okay? The wisdom of a Buddha, the ultimate wisdom of a Buddha. But the other is the elimination of what? Yeah, like bad qualities.
Obstacles to omniscience.
Obstacles to omniscience. And then on a very subtle level, what else?
Conceptual.
You could say that, or how about we say of self-existence? Okay? So Buddha has abandoned self-existence. Yeah. And this paper has abandoned self-existence. So this paper has self-existence. Oh, is it 12 inches long or 14 inches long? Right? Old rabbit's horn joke, right? Yeah. So in a sense, when did Lord Buddha abandon self-existence? I was just good at this answer. He did it last time.
Belief in self-existence, or
Self-existence itself. When did Lord Buddha abandon self-existence?
You never had it.
never there?
Yeah, we're doing a rerun of last class. Both these guys. Yeah, he never had it. So in that sense, he's abandoned that. But he's also abandoned. No, it is. The Dhammakaya is part what? Emptiness. The emptiness of a Buddha. Okay? And that emptiness comes in, we'll talk about it later, but there's a kind of emptiness that we all have that we've had from the beginning, right? That's attached to an impure person in my case, right? That's attached to a mortal, dieable being. That's one kind of Buddha nature, actually. But then after you become enlightened, it's attached to what? to a pure being. So the emptiness doesn't change, but its attachments change. Its accoutrement change. So anyway, that's a distinction you have to make. In the case of a Buddha, the ultimate Buddha is the omniscience and the loss of self-existence and the loss of bad qualities, altogether called the Dharmakaya. Okay, Dharmakaya. That's the real Buddha. Okay, Dundam means that's the real Buddha. Okay, when you go for refuge, you go for refuge to that Buddha. Okay, not even to the fake one, or you could say the apparent Buddha, which is if I put the Dharmakaya over here, what should I put over here? Rupakaya. Sometimes we divide 4 bodies, sometimes 3 bodies, and sometimes just 2 bodies. Tonight we're doing 2 bodies. You're either the Buddha's knowledge and his emptiness, or her emptiness, or you are all the physical appearances of a Buddha. The latter one is kunzo, which means what?
Deceptive.
Deceptive. That ain't what the Buddha is all about. That's not what the Buddha is all about. The way the Buddha looks, even in the Buddha's paradise, the way Lord Buddha looks when Lord Buddha comes to a planet, that's not what the Buddha is all about. That's not what we take refuge in. Okay? It's the emptiness of Lord Buddha. And that's the Buddha that you meet for the first time directly when you see emptiness directly. Okay? That's the Lord Buddha. Why? Don't forget, we're not talking about, we start out distinguishing between what and what? Buddha and the what of the, and the jewel of the Buddha.
Okay. Right.
Like, we all started out tonight debating between the Buddha and the jewel of the Buddha, right? As in the 3 jewels, right? So Pelma should walk in now. And it's only the second one that can protect you. It's only the second one you should go for refuge to. Okay? Why? Can't the Rupakaya protect you?
Because the Buddha jewel is attainable, and you can't attain being the historical Buddha.
That's in one way. But can you be protected by the appearance of Lord Buddha? I mean, in an ultimate way. No.
Only if it stirred your memory of the Dharmakaya.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a pretty good answer. You could debate that all night, probably, in the debate ground. Like, those colors and shapes in and of themselves can't protect you. That's obvious. I mean, no Buddhist in America, in the new realm of Buddhism, right, should ever have this thing about worshiping the images. I mean, and that's why religions throughout history have discouraged worshiping images. They can't help you. They can't really help you. Okay? Much less, that's not the Rupakaya. Rupakaya is what?
Their physical bodies.
Yeah. I mean, Lord Buddha walks around on planet Earth, and Arya Sangha is saying, and Maitreya is saying, fake refuge, fake Buddha. Can't help you. Can't help you. Okay? And that's that thing, we talked about it before. Lord Buddha was Shakyamuni, right? King of the Shakya people, which means a small village lord. And they were attacked one day, and all the people came in for protection and hung on to his robes. And they were cut down, holding on to him. Can't help you. That Buddha can't help you. Okay? You don't go and prostrate to that Buddha. You don't go and prostrate to that picture. Okay? But the Dundam Buddha, the ultimate Buddha, can that help you?
Yes.
Yeah. 20 minutes of seeing that, of emptiness, you're out of here in 7 lifetimes or less. Okay? Guaranteed. And that's protection. That's refuge. In practical terms, you're going to teach this at the YMCA, right? Those who survive. And maybe a lot of those people will just be walk-ins from U of A or something, right? Or 4th Avenue or whatever. And they're going to say, how are you going to explain it to them? Like, I don't think you'd want to go straight to the direct perception of emptiness, right? Like, I heard a lot of grumbling about that after the Yoga Sutra. Those Buddhists, they're always talking about direct perception of something, I don't know. How could you present that to someone as protection, emptiness, in their real life?
the wisdom that understands where things are coming from in your world, where your experiences are coming from, which then gives you the wisdom to change your reality, change your experiences.
I think that, and to tell you the truth, most people are very interested in how to get rid of the bad stuff. You know, like the screaming boss, or the irritating friend, or the waiter who spilled the Coke on you, right? I mean, most people don't question reality until they get cancer or something like that. You know, they're not too interested about the real nature of where that bonus came from at work. They're very interested in why they got laid off. And so it's good to go there sometimes, you know. That's where people can start using Dharma right away, whether they ever come back to the YMCA after your first class with them, okay? Like, if they never come back, if that's all they ever hear, people are your perception. The people who upset you are a mirror of you, because they're empty and someone loved them, okay? And you get into that. I really suggest that if you watch His Holiness teach, like in Central Park, we listen to the CD over and over during retreat, like on Sunday nights, and he says, I'm going to teach the 8 verses Lojong, you know, and then he gives a hour and 20-minute talk about getting along with each other. And then in the last 10 minutes, he does the last 7 verses of the, if you check it out. And a lot of great lamas will do that, you know. There's a vehicle, the Uttara Tantra is a vehicle. It's an excuse to talk about karma, emptiness, and compassion. And you got to get right to it. You know, like say, these are the 7, and by the way, you know, and then start talking about the waiter or their wife or the guy at work that they don't like. Okay. Real Dharma and fake Dharma. Real Dharma and fake Dharma. I'll read to you from Gyaltsuk Jing. Dunda bechuni tepa chempope gyuki gokpa dan lamgi demba nidang. The cessations, the truth of the cessations and the path in a person of the Mahayana class, Mahayana family, is what the real Dharma is. Which means, for example, I'll give you an example of the truth of cessation in the mind of a person who's a bodhisattva, okay? When you see emptiness directly, and when you come out of it, you lose permanently 2 or 3 mental afflictions. Name any one.
Prove in future lives.
You can say that. That's one. That's one. Doubt. Doubt is one of the most famous ones. Like, you can no longer doubt the Buddhist path. And you can no longer doubt the truth of emptiness. You know, you can't doubt the books anymore. At all. Ever. And you would spend your whole life trying to save them, actually, after that. So, that's an example of the truth of cessation in the mind of a bodhisattva. They have ceased doubting forever. Truth of cessation means, it's a fancy word for saying you got rid of some bad thing in your mind permanently. You won't have it again. You'll never have it again. That's cessation, okay? So, and then lam, path, is a synonym for Tokpa, which means realizations, okay? The truth of the path in Buddhism doesn't have anything to do with a road, or even with a series of procedures for getting enlightened. It's ideas. It's raw ideas. You know, we're in the idea business. I often think of that, you know. I went to Wilcox. People were selling air conditioners, tacos, French fries, alfalfa, fertilizer. You know, it's a wide variety there. And I thought, well, we're in the idea business, you know. That's what we do. You know, it's kind of intangible, and the money is too. But if you think about it, we're peddling ideas. And that's the Dharma refuge. That's the real Dharma. So, for example, the direct perception of emptiness in the mind of a bodhisattva is the path, is the truth of the path. The truth of the path and the truth of having stopped certain bad things forever is the real Dharma. Is the real Dharma. Okay? Which implies that what is not the real Dharma?
The printed word.
Yeah, like books. or even the teachings, even verbal teachings, okay? That's the apparent Dharma, okay? The whole collection of all the teachings ever given on this planet about Buddhism are fake Dharma. They're not the real Dharma, okay? And when you go for refuge to what? It's really the perception of emptiness. And the good stuff that happens to you after that. You know, the qualities you start to get rid of, the bad qualities you start to get rid of, that's the real Dharma, okay? We got a couple more to go.
So does that mean you can disrespect?
Somewhere in the scriptures it says that's a really
Dumb thing to do.
well, no, that's a really easy thing to think and a really wrong thing to think. Yeah, they say that. Yeah, you should respect the apparent Dharma also. Yeah, have to. Ultimate Sangha. Ready? Ultimate Sangha. The degree of liberation and knowledge that a bodhisattva has who has seen emptiness directly. Okay? That's a little different than the presentation you guys got in earlier courses. And Maitreya is giving a little bit different presentation here. So I think it's kind of useful to compare. It's useful always to have 2 or 3 different presentations, and it makes you think about the differences. Who wrote the Abhisamaya Alankara, Ngunto Gen, Jewel of Realizations? Maitreya. So it's the same guy who's teaching it, right? He's giving a slightly different presentation here. So, Sangha, real Sangha, is the degree of liberation and knowledge that a bodhisattva who's seen emptiness directly has. That's the real Sangha. Okay? The unreal Sangha is all those bodhisattvas who have seen emptiness directly. The people. Now that's different from the presentation you had, I think, in course 2. But that's why this is called an in-depth course, because we're getting a little deeper into that idea. Okay? It's even more subtle. Okay. What's the next of the 7? We got to get through all 7 before we get refreshments. Sorry? Yeah, Buddha nature. Come. Okay? Dhatu. Buddha nature. Here's the real Buddha nature. Semchenki gyuki semrang shinki drupe tongba. Chibadan chepa. The emptiness in the mind of every living being, which is still involved with impure stuff. The emptiness in the mind of every living being. And normally we say suffering living being, okay? Which is still involved with impure stuff. Hang on a minute. Yeah. I want to clarify that. I forgot one thing, okay? It's the emptiness of their mind. In their mind. He uses 2, okay? The emptiness of the mind in the mind of every living being, okay? The emptiness in the mind, in the mind of every living being, okay? Is their real Buddha nature, ultimate Buddha nature. So, who wants to do a debate? Anyone want to volunteer? Michael, okay. Let me think about it. Dindam Kam, ultimate Buddha nature. Let's do it a different way. Sangha Girik, Sangha La Mebe. Buddhas don't have Buddha natures.
No, they do. Buddhists do have Buddha nature.
Sangha La Sangha Girik Yata. You telling me Buddhists have Buddha nature?
Yeah. Sure.
So, Sangha La Kam Yabata. You telling me Buddhists have this calm thing, this element thing, this Buddha nature thing?
Certainly.
Goya. Tundamien Kunzobien. They have the fake one or the real one. In the debate, you're kind of like this. You're like, come on, Michael, whenever you're ready.
The real one. The real one already.
Okay. Yeah, so they have Semchen Tamjeki, Gyuki, Semgi, Tombani, Timada Chepa Yata. So you're telling me they have that kind of emptiness that all suffering beings have in their minds, which is still mixed up with impure stuff, right?
Yes.
Well, Sangye La Tima Yata. You telling me Buddhas still have impurities?
They have the mind that is, they have a mind that is pure, that in ordinary beings is mixed with impurity.
Well, that's really good. So they have tima and they don't have tima. So they have purity and they don't have impurity.
They don't have impurity.
Oh, so kamyata. So they don't have Buddha nature?
They do have Buddha nature, but it's undefiled by our impurities.
So they don't have the Buddha nature which is still connected with impurities.
Exactly.
Well, now Gyaltsabje at this point says, that proves they don't have Buddha nature. He says, you guys stop thinking that Buddhists have Buddha nature, because they don't. Because Buddha nature means Buddha seed. You see? And it always means still mixed up with impurity.
By definition,
okay. Yeah.
Rick is mixed up with impurity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a subtle point, you know? That's a subtle point. When you get to Buddhahood, you lose your Buddha nature. So really it's just a bad translation, actually, sort of. Buddha Rik should be translated like seed rather than nature, perhaps. Okay? Because you lose it when you get enlightened. Okay. If that's the real Buddha nature, what do you think might be... Oh. If the real Buddha nature is emptiness, then what do you think might be the apparent Buddha nature, the fake Buddha nature? Those of you who know Tibetan, it's the difference between Rangshin Nerik and Gengyukirik. Say Rangshin Nerik. Gengyukirik. Two kinds of Buddha natures. Rangshin Nerik means what?
It's that seed we were talking about.
Yeah, it's like your emptiness.
It's your emptiness.
The emptiness of your mind is your natural Buddha nature, Rangshin Nerik, which resides in you naturally, by nature, Rangshin Nerik. And then Gengyukirik
is the body and mind that you use to get to Buddhahood?
Yeah. Gyaltsabje defines it as following. That little part of all living beings, which is their capacity to grow into Buddhahood. It's their capacity to grow into Buddhahood, which is not the same as the availability of Buddhahood. You see what I mean? Which is their emptiness. It's a difference. One is the emptiness of the dog on the side of the road. One is the result of the karma ripening in Arya Sanga's mind. Get the difference? The dog is available to be Maitreya because the dog is empty. What makes the dog Maitreya is the karma in Arya Sanga's mind. And we call that Arya Sanga's growable Buddha nature. Or, what do you call it? What do you call it when you do crops? You...
Rotate?
When you take care of them, what's it called? Cultivate, yeah. The part of the piece in you, the piece of you that can be cultivated into a Buddha is called your cultivatable Buddha nature.
That would be calm?
There's two kinds of calm, see?
Okay.
The fake one, the one that ain't the ultimate one, is the growable one, the cultivatable one. Okay?
Well then, is Rick synonymous with calm in this case?
Yep.
Okay.
And the other one is just the fact that you're available for anything because you're empty. Okay? Which is more powerful? The emptiness. I mean, that's what makes everything possible. That's what makes everything possible. There's even a debate later that we're going to get into, luckily, of how can you call that a seed? Shenwang Yimbata. He's a mind-only guy. I got to go to mind-only school. Buddha nature is a cause thing, right? Changeable thing. Shenwang Yimbata. Huh? Yimbata. Chichir.
Well,
Or duh, but don't give me any blah blah.
Kunso or Dundam?
We're talking about the emptiness one, the dindam, the ultimate Buddha nature. The fact that you are empty, you're available to become a Buddha. The dog was empty, available to become Maitreya, if you got the right seeds, right? Huh? Yichichi or Yimbata? What did I say anyway? Oh, Rick 先往引把它，咱是那个先往引把它，引把它，他们这个语言没错。It must be a changing thing, because it's the seed from which Buddhahood grows.
So that's the kunso.
Huh? Oh, that's not the Buddha seed?
I didn't say that.
You said Jiju. You said I don't agree. So it is the Buddha seed. So you can have a seed that doesn't grow. Ah. Yeah, it's not a Shenwan. Right? It can't be a changing thing. That thing never changes. Everyone's got it. It's the only thing that saves us. Everyone's available to become a Buddha. It's the availability, you see. Technically speaking, it's the lack of not being available. Okay? That's another story.
That is the kunso?
Dindam.
That's dundam.
Yeah, the kunzop is the growable, cultivatable one.
Okay, so
You know, like your mind.
so the empty dog that was available to become Maitreya.
The availability of the dog
The availability of the dog,
is the dog's...
kunso, in the Sangha's mind.
Yeah. Okay. We finished 4, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, So now here's the answer to the big question, right? And this you've got to appreciate. It's going to help us after the refreshments. The first Buddha mentioned, diamond-like vision number 1, is the Buddha that you will come to be. Is the Buddha that you will come to be. It's what we call result refuge, if you remember. It's result refuge. It's the Buddha you're going to be. Like when Alistair prostrates to this Buddha, one way to think about it is that I'm bowing down to the Buddha I will become. Okay? And that's a very important form of refuge. It's called, what did I say? Result refuge, right?
Refuge.
You're taking refuge in what result you're going to come out as. Okay? That's the first Buddha mentioned in the 7, the list of the 7. Now you tell me what number 4 is. 5.
Don't No, Bodhi.
Huh? Yeah, you could say all the other ones. All the Buddhas that already exist, you see? They're called Gyuikyamdo. Gyuikyamdo. Causal refuge. Why? They make you become a Buddha. They're the cause for you to become a Buddha. Okay, so now we got a difference between 2 kinds of Buddha refuges, 2 kinds of Buddha jewels. The first Buddha that Arya Sangha Maitreya ever teaches in the UttaraTantra is the one you will be, named Jamba. Maitreya, why not? Everyone's going to become Maitreya. Somebody tried to debate that to me today, but I guess they never saw a pen. I mean a stick. Okay? How many sticks are there in this room? You see? How many cylinders in this room? Don't tell me you can't all be Maitreya. Forget that. Okay? Then number 5 is all the other Buddhas that are around. Maybe everybody else in this room except me or you. I don't know. No. Anyway. They're called causal refuge because they are the cause of you becoming a Buddha. Why? They're around you all day, they piss you off, they make you happy, they teach you, they outrage you, they... whatever. Okay? They do what they have to do to get you there. Okay? Don't think they're all like this nice schmoozy guy. Shidan ge la sopa yi. Right? Shidan ge la sopa yi. They always have 4 aspects. Shi means what? Gepa, generous, giving. Wang, trot, kick-ass. Okay? Every great Lama has to have all 4 available in their toolbox.
Generous, warm, wrathful, and what else?
Peaceful.
Okay.
Shi, gay. Gay means like party. Like Tumbarimate, you know, throw a party. Or generous, give money, feed people, make people feel cool. Wang, powerful. Like His Holiness. I mean, His Holiness walks in the room, he's powerful. Doc, if you've ever been with Ken Rinpoche on a bad day when you had a bad day, he can be very wrathful. So those are the 4 qualities. So anyway, what I'm saying is that just because the people around you aren't all sweet, gentle, animal-loving, sanctuary-building, types, doesn't at all prove anything about their being a Buddha or not. Okay? If they teach you, if they bring you one step further by pissing you off, then the Chinle, the activity of Buddha, has manifested in your life. That's it. Okay? It's one more incentive to get enlightened. Right? Okay. Yunten, we're on to good qualities. What was that?
You said there were 2?
Yeah, there's going to be 2 Yuntens. Sorry?
What was the decisive?
Oh, good qualities? Oh, same as number 1. Just copy it from number 1. Okay? But in the mind of another person, as opposed to in your own mind. Coming in your own mind is number 1. Already achieved in someone else's mind is number 5.
Causal.
Okay? Yeah. And I always got confused because causal to me would seem to be me in the future, and I have to cause it now. I always have to look it up in the computer before I teach that class, because I always get confused. Just think of it as taking refuge in the cause, which is outside of you. Another person who's already enlightened. Taking refuge in the result is taking refuge in what you will become. Number 5 is the first, number 1 is the 5th. Number 2 is, anyway, you got it. Okay. Yunden, ultimate ones are where the Buddha has eliminated certain things and thereby achieved, we talked about it, eliminated self-existence or eliminated bad qualities like ignorance. And then the apparent or the sort of illusory good qualities are what we call the karmic ripenings that turn into the Buddha's good qualities. For example, the Buddha's omniscience. Okay. Again, the emphasis is on what? Emptiness. The real ones are connected with emptiness. And the other ones are the ones that grew. See how the real ones are connected to your innate Buddha nature. The not so real ones are connected to your cultivatable Buddha nature, right? Different thing. Same emphasis. This is a Ngedun. This is a real Ngedun scripture. I mean, he just goes after emptiness and karma. He's not interested in anything else. Nothing else. The whole book. All you're going to get is this broken record. Emptiness and karma, emptiness and karma, emptiness and karma. Okay? I like that kind of book. That's a real perfection of wisdom book. That's an ACI book. That's a real ACI book. That's what really saves people. Okay? Last one. Ultimate enlightened activity, Chinle. Ultimate enlightened activity is called Jadubyashi. Jadubyashi means the wisdom in an enlightened being's mind that allows them to accomplish all their incredible deeds. Okay? Jadubyashi. The wisdom in an enlightened being's mind which allows them to do all the neat stuff they do. It's called Jadubyashi. And then he says, the apparent activity of Buddha is all the teachings of a Buddha, all the teachings we have. So the real activity of Buddha is their wisdom that allows them to do all that incredible stuff. The state of mind that allows them to do all this stuff. The apparent activity of Buddha is the stuff we see them do, like teaching. Okay? The first is much more powerful. The first is the source of the second. So we still have to talk about 2 things. We're going to talk about why 7, why not 6 or 9, or 8 or 9. And then we're going to talk about, is there any logical order to these 7? Is there some reason why Maitreya has presented the 7 in this particular order? Okay? Then we'll be really familiar with all the 7 from 3 different viewpoints. And then we'll go on next class to the first of the 7 detail. So have something to drink and something to eat and come back in 10 minutes or so. Okay? Diamond Mountain time. Buki Joshi Metodam Rira Mingshi Nende Yambani Sangye Shindu Midewaki Dogunanda Shina Chepasho Idam Guru Nana Mandalakam Dayami. We gotta do Tapgyu. What's a Tapgyu? Horse race. We gotta do a horse race. Okay. When Gyaltsab Je is trying to explain why exactly 7 and not 6 or 8, here's how he starts out. He starts out with 2 numbers. He says, look, the most important thing is to take care of others. In an ultimate way. Take care of others in an ultimate way. To do that, you have to take care of yourself. Okay. And the only person who can do both in an ultimate way is a Buddha. So that justifies the first of the 7, right? It's only a Buddha who can do both things. Then we'll leave some space here. Geshe Thupten Rinchen, right? Leave a little empty space in your paper. I'll be back later for that. And then to become a Buddha, you really have to develop what? Your
Buddha nature.
Buddha nature, down here. Okay. And he calls this cause. You can call it material cause.
Is it still number 1?
Well, this was number 1 up here, right? And this is already down to number 2, 3, 5, right? What do we mean when we say Nirlang Gigyu, material cause?
The stuff that turns into the thing.
The stuff that turns into the thing. In the case of a tree, what's the material cause?
Seed.
Seed, right? So if you talk about the material cause of your own enlightenment, it's your Buddha nature that's going to grow into a Buddha, okay? Now there's a lot of debate about that, and we won't do it tonight, okay? We won't do it tonight. Like, what's your ultimate Buddha nature? How about Rebecca?
Emptiness.
Your emptiness, okay? The emptiness of your own mind, right? The emptiness of the mind and the mind of all living beings, right? So can that be a cause of anything?
Can emptiness be a cause of anything?
Yeah. Shenwang? Can Yongdruk be a Shenwang?
It's a lack of a thing.
Yeah, it's a lack of a thing. It never changes. It never changes. It always stays the same. It's just the fact that you aren't what you thought you were. That's your emptiness. Never changes. Can't grow into anything. Why call it a material cause? Gyaltsab Je gets out of it. Okay, he says, well, look, we could be talking about the cultivatable Buddha nature, which is your mind and your body, and etc., and grows into a Buddha, say. Yeah, Gengyukiru, the cultivatable Buddha nature. Or in a way, you know, you could say that on the bottom of everything lies the what do you call it? It's like capacity, but what's that? The potential to be anything that lies below everything is the Nirlengi Gyu in a sense for everything. It's the material cause for everything. And we had that in Samonandun. We had that idea that emptiness is lying below all causation. It's the potential that lies below all things. If you read the Diamond Cutter business book, like I didn't want to call it emptiness in a business book, so I called it the big potential, you know. And that you can think of as emptiness. It lies below all causes. So now we get to, if this is Nirlengi Gyu, guess what this is? Sanchik chicken. Say it, Sanchik? Chicken. Sanchik? Chicken. Like contributing factor. And we're going to cover 6 and 7, right?
And contributing factors.
They are both contributing factors. 5 is the material, it's the stuff that turns into a Buddha. 6 and 7 are the factors that assist you in becoming a Buddha. In the metaphor of a tree, what are they? Water, sunlight, soil. Okay, those are authentic chickens. This goes back, by the way, to the idea of result refuge and cause refuge. Why, Michael?
Say again.
Some of these are, I would say, the first 3 are supposed to be what? Result refuge. The last 3 are supposed to be cause refuge.
Okay.
Why? How?
The first 3 would be ultimate, and the last 3 would be deceptive or apparent.
Maybe you could say that, but if I said in terms of self and somebody else, the first 3 are yourself or somebody else?
Yourself.
Good, in the future. And the last 2 are?
Myself now.
No, somebody else now, who's already a Buddha.
Oh, okay.
Okay? They're good qualities and their activity. And so what you can just think of is that the last 2 are people who are already Buddhas, the good qualities they have, and what they want to share with you. The way they talk to you, the way they act towards you, like that. Okay, activity, right? Enlightened activity. And then all the good qualities that make that possible. Because they ain't what turns into your own Buddha. They ain't what turns into Michael the Buddha, you know, so many lifetimes from now, or whatever, so many months from now. Weeks? Okay? Number 5 is the thing that turns into Michael the Buddha. Number 6 and 7 is what? It's like cheering him on. It's like external factors that contribute, like the soil and the water and the... Okay? 6 and 7 belong to somebody else. 5 belongs to you. 5 is what inside of you turns into a Buddha. 6 and 7 are what's outside of you that convinces you to become a Buddha. Okay? So, then, 4 is easy. It's the Buddha outside of you now that's going to contribute also, right? Right? Okay. Number 1 was the Buddha that you're going to become. Number 4 was the Buddha outside of you, whose speech and good qualities talk you into becoming a Buddha. Right? So that's easy. Now Gyaltsab Je says, why do you throw in Dharma? How are you going to fit that in? You know? It's the Buddha that you want to become. You know, that's the big money. This is just like realizations in the head of a person who's seen emptiness directly. This is just people who've seen emptiness directly. How are you going to fit them in? You don't need to throw those 2 in. Everybody complains to Maitreya, said, look, you could do with 5 diamond-like visions. You don't need 7, okay? It's a little tricky, but in Maitreya scriptures, he presents this idea of 3 tracks. Like, we know about Bodhisattva track. And then there are 2 lower tracks called what? Remember? Self-made Buddha is the 3rd one. I'm sorry, the 2nd one. And listener is the 3rd one, right. So Gyaltsab Je gets around it. He says, look, Buddha is what bodhisattvas are after. You know, when you say to a Buddha, to a bodhisattva, what would you like to become? Future refuge, right? I'd like to become Buddha. But when you talk to a self-made Buddha track, lower track people, they're called lower track people. They're mainly interested just in getting their rear end out of pain, the pain of all pain. So really what they're fixated on is learning the wheel of life well. Tell me about the wheel of life. Because that's enough to get you out of samsara. It's enough to get you to be an arhat, an enemy destroyer. Okay? That's all they're interested in. So Gyaltsab Je says, really, number 1 is talking about track number 1. Number 2 is talking about people on track number 2 who are going to use the Dharma in the form of the wheel of life, 12 links of dependent origination, to get their rear end out of all suffering. Oh, so then what would number 3 be? 3rd track.
Or are you true?
Yeah, well, it's basically the listeners. And then Gyaltsab Je, he says, well, look, when you're a listener and you're just about to get to be an arhat, in your last life, all you need is someone, a friend, a companion, sangha, to come up to you and give you that last teaching, and they push you over the edge. So people on the 3rd track are really interested in sangha, someone to give them that last teaching. And that's how you justify the 7. That's why Maitreya said there were exactly 7. No more, no less. Okay? Every bodhisattvas want to be Buddhas. People on the self-made Buddha track want to get Dharma so they can get to be an arhat. People on the 3rd track want to get to sangha to come up to them and push them over that last life to be arhat, nirvana. Everybody has to depend on an external Buddha to help them. There are 2 contributing causes there of their good qualities and all the things they do, like teaching people. And they have to cultivate that Buddha nature inside of you so you can become enlightened. That's why there's 7. Okay, second part of the horse race. It's kind of confusing when you read the commentary. We just finished what? A justification of why the number is 7. That's not very important. It's not on your homework. Mostly just to fill in the class. I think now we get to something which is the order of the 7. Why present them in that order? Okay? And I kind of like that. This has a lot to do with bodhicitta, says Gyaltsab Je. Okay? I want to get to be a Buddha. Why? If I can get to be a Buddha, then I can help others in the main way that Buddhas help others, which is what? I mean, they can't transfer their knowledge to other people. They have to show them how to get there. Which is talk. I mean, mainly. They can emanate as a wind up on the hill or something. But mainly they have to talk and say something and teach people the Dharma. Okay? So Dharma comes second. You know? And Gyaltsab Je is doing it, look. Is this future Buddha or current Buddhist? Number 1. Future Buddhas or current Buddhas? Well, it's an UttaraTantric class, right? Yeah, it's the Buddha we will become. It's the Buddha we will become. But we want to become a Buddha in the future so we can teach Dharma to people. If we do a good job, all the students at Diamond Mountain University for the next 100 years or 1,000 years or whatever will all see emptiness directly. And then there's the Sangha. Okay, so we've caused the Sangha. So the first 3 are in a sense looking ahead to your future Buddhahood and saying, I can make people see emptiness if I can teach ACI courses correctly. And to that I really should be enlightened. Okay? And that's the like motivation. It's one half of bodhicitta, you know? Shendun, Semge Pani? 3 years ago. Or I was the expert, sorry. Yeah. Semge Pani Shendun Shir Yandazo Bichanjitu. I want to get to Buddha in order to help other people. Okay? And the Buddha part I can't do unless I can meet Buddhas, right? Let me check this. Seems to me there is this point here. Oh, that's a good point. We didn't cover that. I want to throw something in, okay? This is totally, it just happened to come up here. Why do they call them like a diamond? You guys know from the Diamond Cutter Sutra, right? And you know the 3 reasons why they're like a diamond. Who's got one?
Every time you cut it, it's the same.
Sorry? Yeah, ultimate. Totally ultimate, beyond everything. Diamond's the hardest thing in the universe. Nothing can cut a diamond except another diamond. You can smash it. You can put a laser through it. But nothing can scratch a diamond except another diamond in the universe. Closest thing to an ultimate in our world. Second reason. All around you and you can't see it. Okay? Every object in this room has emptiness. The tip of my nose has emptiness, you know? The whole house has emptiness. Its own emptiness. Every bug on the ground outside has its own emptiness. Okay? Third reason.
Equally empty.
Yeah, equally empty. Like when you smash a diamond, every piece of the diamond, every molecule of a diamond has a perfect carbon configuration. Every piece is equally perfect. All of those emptinesses are the same. The object they attach to is different, but the emptinesses are all the same. Now, Arya Sangha says, these are compared to a diamond because a diamond is so hard to pierce. Okay? So hard to pierce. And then he goes on to say, the reason being, you can't really grasp emptiness through learning or through contemplation. Like the kinds of wisdom you get in this class through intellectual thinking, and the kind of wisdoms you get, the kind of wisdom you get when I describe emptiness to you verbally, the kind of understanding you get when you go home and think about it, is not enough to crack the nut. It's not enough to pierce the diamond. You won't be able to see, that in itself cannot see emptiness. You have to go into a deep state of meditation. You have to do long retreats. Some day in one of those deep retreats, probably it's going to be difficult out of retreat, right? Not impossible, but more difficult. Someday, if you have a place to go, to have deep retreats for many people, then one of them is going to hit the jackpot and see emptiness directly in a state of deep meditation, if they have those circumstances. Tunken, right? Otherwise, very hard to pierce that diamond. That's how Arya Sangha describes the meaning of the diamond in his commentary. Maitreya just says, look, these are all like a diamond because they relate to what happens to a person when they see emptiness directly. Now my question for you, is Arya Sangha an Arya at this point? No. Okay? He's not. The author of the commentary we're using, I don't think he was an Arya at that time. You know, according to the books, even according to the books, if you just want to according to the scriptures, he didn't attain it till later. Till after he had taught his students for a while and things like that. Apparently, when he was writing this, he had not attained to Arya yet. I think the explanation of diamond is not as cool as the Diamond Cutter Sutra. You know, I just throw that out. You can cook it. You can cook it. I think Maitreya had something else in mind. You know, I think Maitreya was talking about those 3. I think the author of the UttaraTantra knew very well what the diamond meant, and that's why he starts out the book with the diamond. The first line is already talking about diamonds, the first verse, okay? Anyway, you can cook that. To get to Buddha, what was number 5? It's okay. Oops. Oh, you have to develop your Buddha nature. Okay. What does it mean to develop your Buddha nature? What did we say about Buddha nature? Michael was arguing about.
It's tainted with impurity.
Yeah, it's tainted. It's tainted. So at number 5, you're doing what? Cleaning Buddha nature. Revealing your Buddha nature, cleaning it. And there's a huge debate about, how can you make emptiness more empty? Are you going to clean emptiness? And then we'll debate that when we get to Buddha nature, okay? Number 6 is what? Yeah, qualities. Qualities of a Buddha. You have to go find somebody with those qualities. You have to find somebody with those qualities. And then they can talk to you, which is their activity. And that's the logic of the order of the 7 as opposed to the number of the 7, right? It's close, but it's not quite the same. I think the logic of the order is much more important. I think the logic of the number is sort of strained. So, anyway, there it is, okay? I need to become a Buddha so I can teach the Dharma to people so they can see emptiness directly. To do that, I'm going to have to get to someone who's already a Buddha so that they can help me clean up the impurities which are obscuring my Buddha nature. And to do that, they've got to have enlightened qualities so they can talk to me and teach me what I need to know. Okay? That was fast. How are we doing here? Yeah, that's good, I think. That's all for tonight's class. We'll do that. The homework is actually ready on...
Here.
Really? Wow, you're amazing. That looks more like a quiz to me from here.
It is a quiz, but there's homework here.
Oh. So they get homework, but not quiz. Are you going to give them 1 and 2? Do you have 1 and 2 homework?
Most of them have 2.
Have 1 already, right?
Yeah. No, I can't give them 1 and 2. Only 2.
Only 2?
Yeah, because when I printed out 1.
Yeah, so get your homework from Ellie. You're responsible for both homeworks on Saturday. Is it Saturday? Yeah. We start at 2 o'clock.
This is on Saturday too.
Quiz on Saturday too at 2 o'clock. Come ready to do the quiz. And don't wimp out on the quiz. Come on, if you're going to teach, you're taking responsibility for other people's lives. Seriously. Like, I think a lot of people are coming to Tucson. Like, maybe not. Maybe it'll be only nobody. But on the hope that people come, you guys got to really be ready. And it's really the first demonstration of Diamond Mountain University teachers. So, you got to put on a good show. So you got to really study hard. And don't forget you have to talk to somebody else. A quiz is okay, a homework is okay, but talking to someone else between the class is very powerful. I used to do it by phone in Howell. We used to debate by phone with friends who lived in Pennsylvania or something like that. It was really expensive, but that's a way to do it if you don't have anybody. Those of you who are interested, come an hour early. Kristi Klav will do the Sanskrit with you. It's really nice to have the Sanskrit in your mind, if you can. Okay? I think that's it. We'll do the prayers. Yeah, that's okay. Okay. Kuki Joshi Medodam Rinam Ningshi Ninde Kembali Sangye Shindu Mede Awagi Rokunam Darshina Chibasho Idam Guru Radna Namanaka Yatayani Di Kewokun Sanam Yeshe Tozoshin Sanam Yeshe Lechoe Damba Kuni Topasho. Okay, good. Thank you.